Hello, guys. I'm Riley, and I'm here with the story of my cheating husband. I'm sure you have heard numerous stories about cheating partners, but have you heard about one where the man used his own father's disease to hide his affair? Well, my husband, Benji, decided to do just that. Benji and I were together for 3 years before we got married. I was fresh out of college and working a great job. We met through his father, Nick, who was my professor in college. He was also my dad's best friend and loved me like his own child. I had never met Benji before because we lived in different states before college. After we met, we clicked right away. He was a funny and charming man who would impress absolutely anyone. We started to date, and after 3 years, he proposed to me. Trust me, guys, he gave all the green flags he could before we got engaged. However, after we got engaged, a problem came knocking on our doorstep. It was his best friend, Sonia. She came into my house and started to scream at Benji. "How dare you get engaged to someone else without telling me? I wasn't here for 3 years and you decided to get engaged within this time?" "Sonia, calm down. I wanted to tell you about us, but you rarely visited here. You didn't even tell me that you were coming back for good. I got to know that today. You have no right to attack me for not telling you. You are the one who hid this relationship from me. I will never forgive you for this." I was pretty confused and alarmed by the interaction. Yes, I had heard about Sonia before, but I never saw her in person. She was living in a different state with her dad before coming back here for good. I always looked forward to meeting her, but what happened that day made me very uncomfortable. Benji tried his best to calm her down and then sent her home. After she left, I said, "Why did she react that way, Benji? Her reaction was completely over the top. Why didn't you tell her about our relationship before? I thought she was your best friend." "She is my best friend, Riley. That's exactly why she's so pissed. She can be a little territorial about me, so I didn't have the courage to tell her." "Don't worry, she'll come around." "I don't know, Benji. I have a weird feeling about this. I really don't know what to think about her reaction." My doubts were actually right. I wish I knew that back then. Benji handled everything and didn't let me see that side of Sonia again. However, Sonia did send me some offensive texts saying I was a witch and that Benji would always be hers. Her texts were highly insulting and I showed them to Benji. He talked to her again and made her stop. Fast forward 2 years. Benji and I finally got married. We had a pretty good marriage, but Sonia was always an issue between us. She was still unemployed and Benji was helping her out with money. He didn't earn much himself, so I had to add more to my share of household expenses. I argued with Benji about this, but he refused to stop helping his best friend in need. Yes, I was that stupid. My stupidity came to an end when I discovered hotel and flight bookings for the two of them. I was checking our joint account and found those purchases. I was shocked and decided to snoop a little on Benji's Facebook, which I had access to. Lo and behold, he was cheating on me with her. I was hysterical and broke down in tears. Benji was not around when this happened. When I texted him to know where he was, he replied that he had to take his father to the hospital. Since the dates on the tickets were the dates for that day, I immediately became suspicious. I called Nick to ask him where he was. He was at home, of course, so I got into my car and drove to his place one town over. When I arrived, he said, "Hey, Riley, what's up? Why are you here so late? Is something wrong?" "Nick, I don't know how to say this. Benji's cheating on me with Sonia." "What? No, that can't be true. I trust my son. He knows how horrible it is to cheat on someone. He loves you and would never do that to you." "I can show you that he has cheated on me, Nick. I have all the proof. You have to believe me. He used your disease as an excuse to hide his affair. He said you got sick again and he had to take you to the hospital." "If what you're saying is true, I will freaking disown him. That's a deal. I won't tolerate him cheating on you. but it's hard for me to believe that my son had done this and used me as an excuse. I showed Nick all the proof I had. He was stunned to see everything. Even then, he thought that there must be some misunderstanding on my part. There had to be some explanation other than cheating. Seeing that Nick was having a hard time believing me, I called Benji and put him on loudspeaker. I said, "Benji, where are you? It's late and you're still not home. I'm getting worried." "I'm at the hospital with my dad. He had a health scare out of the blue. I came here as soon as possible." "Oh my God, Benji, is he okay? Should I come down to the hospital?" "The doctors are checking him, but it will take some time. You don't have to wait for me. I think Dad will be staying here for the night for observation. I'll be here tonight and come home tomorrow after I drop him off at the house." "Oh, so the doctors told Nick to stay there overnight?" "Okay then. I will just drop by and visit him. I can even bring you something to eat." No, that won't be necessary, Riley. The hospital staff don't want too many people in the room. I'm staying here, so that's enough. You can visit him later. He needs time to recover. It's quite late, so I don't want you driving in the dark." "Okay then, so I take it that you will be home tomorrow?" "I don't know, Riley. I might have to stay back if he gets admitted for a few days. I'll call you back tomorrow and inform you. I'll just hang up now. The nurses don't like it when I talk on the phone for too long." Before I could get any more information about him, he hung up on me. I should have predicted that this would happen. Nick was furious at Benji, which was evident from his face. I sighed at what Benji said because at that point, I was just tired instead of being angry. I was exhausted and wanted to get out of this marriage. I said, "There, Nick, I'm sure you believe me now. He has been using you as an excuse to go see his mistress. I know Sonia is also in there with him. As I showed you, they both have their names on the tickets and hotel." You have no idea how pissed off I am right now. As if cheating on you wasn't bad enough? He used my health as an excuse to stay with his affair partner? Nick is disgusting and shameless. I can't believe I have a son like this. "I don't know what you plan to do with him, but I'm done. I will be filing for divorce. I'm sorry, Nick, but this is it. I refuse to be used by Benji so that he can go have fun with his mistress. I won't hold you up to the deal. He's your son, and I would understand if you forgive him." "Absolutely not, Riley. I won't look past his sins just because he's my son. You know what, Riley? Let's do this. I will uphold the deal on my end. I will disinherit him." "You don't have to do it, Nick. I understand that he's your son. I won't be mad at you, I promise." "Girl, you are just as much my child as Benji. You might be my daughter-in-law, but don't forget that I have always considered you to be my daughter." Hearing Nick say that brought tears to my eyes. After losing my family, I really did consider Nick to be my family as well. So when Nick told me that he sees me in the same way, it made me happy. Even if Benji abandoned and betrayed me, I still had Nick. Nick was adamant that he would make Benji pay for his sins. We didn't confront Benji that day. Both Nick and I had to make a lot of arrangements before confronting him. The first thing I did after returning home was to call a divorce lawyer. He's a friend of mine, so calling him late wasn't an issue. He heard everything and I sent him all the proof of Benji's cheating. He promised to prepare the divorce papers the next day. Nick also called his family lawyer and redrafted his will. Benji was, of course, having the time of his life with Sonia. He did call me twice a day to tell me that his father was not doing well and was still in the hospital. I didn't even care what he said anymore. I simply recorded the calls and sent them to my friend as evidence. Benji returned home a whopping 3 days after he left. He extended a day, seeing that I didn't suspect a thing. He was in for a big surprise when I would destroy his fake love for me. But he didn't see it coming. Benji assumed that everything was okay. With his bag still packed, I told him to sit down in the living room. I also told him that I was going to record our conversation for something important. Benji looked visibly frightened for a second before putting back his concerned face. He said, "What's the matter, Riley? You are scaring me with your seriousness. Tell me what's wrong. Why don't you start by telling me where you were for the last 3 days? I would love to hear it from you in person. I told you, Riley, Dad was sick, so I needed to take care of him. He was released just yesterday. I dropped him home, stayed the night, and came back today. Oh, really, Benji? So why was he suddenly taken to the hospital? What did the doctors say? He was having chest pains and was feeling sick. The doctors wanted to monitor his blood pressure for a few days. He's fine now. You can call him and ask. He is at home. I'm sure he is at home right now, but I don't think he went to the hospital after all. What do you mean, Riley? Oh, God, please don't tell me you're doubting me again. I'm sick and tired of being attacked, even when I have been the perfect husband. Don't make me laugh, Benji. The perfect husband won't go around sleeping with his best friend behind his wife's back. Does Sonia know you used your father as an excuse, or is she involved in the entire planning as well? Stop it, Riley. Don't talk about Sonia like that. You make her sound like a wicked homewrecker. It's shameful that you are suspecting your own husband like this. You have always been jealous of Sonia because she's beautiful. So you are finding ways to make our relationship inappropriate. Your manipulative tactics won't work anymore, Benji. Guess what? I went over our bank statements and found some interesting hotel bookings and plane tickets. I'm sure you already know whose names I found. What? I don't know what you're talking about. There must be some mistake. Maybe you're trying to set me up. You even accused me of using my sick father to hide my fake affair. This is shameful, Riley. I'm disappointed in you. Benji then went on to berate me and somehow turned this on me. While he was doing that, Nick walked in through the door. I had informed him about Benji's arrival when he texted me last night. When Nick walked in through the door, Benji took one look at him and went pale. He looked very panicked and started to sweat. He said, "Hey, Dad, what are you doing here? What a surprise, Dad. I thought you should be at home after getting so sick and all." Are you talking about the sickness you faked to go have an affair with Sonia? Yeah, I've recovered from that just fine, son. No thanks to you, of course. Dad, what are you talking about? I can't believe you'll say things like that. I'm not having an affair with Sonia. Is that so, Benji? Then why did you book tickets and hotel for the two of you? And why did you lie to Riley and tell her that you were with me at the hospital? Well, you see, it's just... Benji started to stutter, seeing that he had been cornered by us. He was thinking hard about how he could come up with more lies about his affair. He realized pretty quickly that he was getting caught in his own lies. I decided to make things easier for him. I said, "There's no need for you to make up lies, Benji. I was at Nick's place when you gave me the bullshit story of taking him to the hospital. He was sitting right across from me and hearing everything since I put you on loudspeaker." Yes, that's right. I heard everything, Benji. I heard how you used my sickness to hide your affair. I saw how you booked a nice vacation from your joint finances to spend quality time with your mistress. I really hope this trip was worth it, Benji. I have some good news for you, though. There is no reason for you to lie to me or cheat on me. I've already filed for divorce, and here are the papers. We can go to a lawyer or opt for mediation and settle things. After that, you're free to do what you want with Sonia. Oh, just remember that I will stop putting money into our joint account, so you're on your own. Okay, look, I confess that I went to stay with Sonia, but it was a one-time thing. You don't have to take such a drastic step for a one-time thing. A one-time thing, Benji? I have read your text with Sonia. I have seen how you have been with her even before we got married. It also didn't help that Sonia fed into my doubts by making me feel jealous. I must say, your affair partner gave me a great incentive to snoop. Riley, please don't do this. I promise I'll cut off all contact with Sonia. We can go to marriage counseling and make things better. We don't have to get a divorce. Dad, please help me convince Riley. Are you freaking kidding me, Nick? She has all the right to divorce you. You were just begging to get her back so that you can have fun on her dime. How dare you ask me for help? I will never help you with anything again. In fact, I have already disinherited you." Hearing this, Benji becomes even more apologetic. He started to beg us not to take away our financial support. Since he didn't work much and took care of Sonia as well, our money meant a lot to him. We should have cut him off sooner, but love is a stupid thing. Good thing that we have learned our lesson. Me and Nick would no longer be Benji's ATM. Since Benji wouldn't stop harassing us for forgiveness, we jointly kicked him out. The house was mine, and his bags were already packed, so it was super convenient for me. Benji left, but kept blowing up our phone with texts of apologies and forgiveness. We turned off our phones and discussed the next steps we would be taking against Benji. Nick has already sent the papers to disinherit Benji. He was leaving a part of his estate to a niece and the rest was left to me. He told me that since I was the one who truly cared about his health and didn't use it for my own benefit, I deserved this much from him. Besides, he thought of me as his own daughter and wanted to leave me something. I was crying tears of sadness and happiness after everything was over. Look, I won't say that I never felt sad about my marriage again. It was super hard to look past the good times and put on a brave face. However, I also knew that those good times were built on lies. What also helped was the fact that Sonia kept rubbing my face when Benji moved in with her. She texted me and said, "See, Riley, I have won. You have lost the love of your life to me. I had warned you that Benji would always be mine. You should have listened to me. Look how you're suffering right now." Suffering, Sonia? Don't delude yourself. I have been freed from taking care of a man-child who couldn't even earn enough to support himself. The sheer financial burden of staying with him was enough to ruin the joys of my marriage. I wish you well with the financial burden you just took in. He will never be a financial burden to me, Riley. Since you make more money than him, he will get alimony from you. Plus, he will get half of your house. That would be enough to make us have a good life. Sonia, are you that dense? Have you forgotten that we live in at-fault state? Even if we get divorced, Benji won't get a cent from me, since he cheated. And, by the way, the house is only in my name and belongs to me, so he won't get anything from that either. It finally dawned on Sonia that Benji would get absolutely nothing from me, and she also must have realized that she would have to get a job to support herself and Benji. Gone were the days when she didn't have to move a finger to provide for herself. Sleeping with Benji was enough to bring in good money for the month, but now she would have to work to feed herself. With zero qualifications and experience, she knew well enough what kind of job she would get. Realizing these things, Sonia went completely silent. I didn't have time for her anymore. I simply hung up the phone. In the next few months, a lot happened. Benji and I got divorced because, well, there was no way I was getting back with him. He chose mediation, and even the court representative hinted that he had no leg to stand on, so he was forced to sign the divorce papers. He did lose quite a bit of money in lawyer fees. That hit his wallet really hard since I was no longer supplementing his income. He kept having horrible fights with Sonia and called me with crying apologies. Apparently, even then, Sonia was refusing to get a job and help him out. Benji has almost zero savings, and Sonia refuses to cut back on their lifestyle. Their fights got so bad that he left her. That night, he showed up on my doorstep with his stuff in tow. He was begging me to take him back. He also kept blabbering about how he was sorry and he would make it up to me. I simply shut the door on his face. Benji also went to his father, who did the same thing. Since Nick's wife cheated on him too, he was a very low tolerance for cheaters. He was mad that his own son disrespected his teachings and decided to cheat on me. Benji was forced to take refuge with a friend who was the only one who was willing to help him. Everyone else abandoned him after the affair came to light. They are actually people of ethics who don't take cheating lightly. Benji's currently dodging Sonia, who's trying to get him back. I guess it finally dawned on her that her leeching ways would chase away the love of her life. Benji has no wish to get back with her and is struggling to get his life back on track. Meanwhile, I'm doing much better and going out on dates as well. I have met some great people and finally feel like I will also find my happiness like others.